of you can sit together and talk about it. And it's a challenging exercise, but I think you're ready for it. We talked a lot yesterday and today about annotation with nouns as targets. Okay? So you have these two sentences. Felix's criticism of my work frightened me. And Tanya heard the praise attributed to the man in the blue shirt. Each of these sentences is an example of judgment communication. And I want you to annotate the sentences. And I'm going to ask Tiago to scroll back to the names of the frame elements.
I'm just waiting for people to take note of this.
Yeah. Okay? And let's say less than 10 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay? No, because I want to review it. Okay, so let's talk about these example sentences that I wanted you to annotate for the nouns, criticism. Whoops. Okay, so Patricia, tell me about the first sentence.
We chose Felix as the communicator. Of my work is the evaluee.
Correct.
And the topic DNI, the medium, we discussed a lot, but I think is ENI, INI, sorry, INI, and the reason is INI too.
So, what makes you think the medium is INI?
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Right, so I know that. So, so that's why I'm asking. What were the considerations that you had in mind when you decided, what made you choose INI? What factors made you choose INI?
We can't find any clue about the way that the criticism was made, though.
Do you know the meaning of the verb the noun criticism, right?
Yes, more or less.
Okay.
We discussed that in Portuguese. You can say criticar, and you can make.
Can you make it into a noun in Portuguese?
Crítica.
Oh, that is the noun.
Crítica, yes.
Is it based on the verb?
Yes.
Okay. So it's
you can do crítica.
You can criticize?
Yeah, criticize.
It's okay.
I want to use the Portuguese word. You can criticize talking or writing an email. In Portuguese, you can criticize those ways.
Okay, so I think you need to understand that the verb criticize, like other verbs, not the verbs, the noun criticize, criticism, just like the verb criticize, like other LUs in this frame, remember, this is a judgment communication frame. And communication, by default, by definition, involves communicating in some medium, right? So, given that that's the case, I would be inclined to say that the medium is DNI. Yeah.
I have a question on that.
Do you understand, just one second, do you understand why I'm saying it?
Yes, I'm a bit confused because in my mind the DNI notion and the core element notion are a little bit mixed because when you
they are connected.
Yes,
very much so.
But in my mind, it's still mixed, not very clear.
The notion of DNI or null instantiation and coreness are interrelated but not sufficiently clearly defined.
Yes, because when you said about it has to be there, I'm a bit confused with the,
Yes, I understand what you're saying. So the difference between DNI and INI is that with DNI, either something in the discourse or something in the linguistic material of the sentence tells you enough about the entity to be able to say, I know what that is.
Like in the second case, when we have the verb here, we know that it's something talked.
Yes, we know that medium has to be DNI.
Yes.
Right.
I can't see it in the first sentence.
Me neither.
I understand. Okay, so I understand that you're saying, okay, so I actually had in mind that this would be criticism, for the first sentence, criticism was verbal. I had that in mind because that's what I had in mind, but I think it's ambiguous in the sentence, and under those circumstances, it is INI. Right? It could be either way. You know, it's in writing, and yeah.
We discussed about that.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, yeah.
Yeah, the question was about it because in the bottom line, what we in FrameNet Brazil are used to do is the following. If you can recognize in discourse or infer a clear referent for the null instantiation.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what definite null is.
It's definite.
Yeah. That,
right? But
right.
if it's ambiguous, we
then
tend to
indefinite.
say indefinite.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, that's the way to think about it. Right. That's the way we define definite null instantiation. You either can identify the referent in the discourse or something about the linguistic context, right? So you had, what frame element was that? A medium, yeah. And what else?
And the reason.
Reason.
I and I too.
reason, I, yeah. And what else?
Topic.
So what do you think about that?
Yes. I think, first of all, we choose D and I, but we discussed that criticism has a bad thing implied.
Connotation, yes.
Yes. So I don't know.
So that made you decide what? Because criticism implies negativity.
Yes.
Then
we thought about denotation. I don't know. I'm not sure about criticize denotate.
Oh, denotation, not DNI.
First of all, we thought DNI.
Oh, okay. Now I understand.
We discussed and we think about.
First you thought it was DNI,
yes.
And then you thought, well, maybe it's not DNI, maybe it's denotation.
Yes.
Right? That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any other ideas about how to characterize topic?
When we were talking about the first sentence, we were in doubt of my work, if it would be the valuee and the topic would be the DNI, or if it would be the valuee and the topic, and we would note that we would write them down as if they were two layers.
So that's another possibility. Does anybody else have any other ideas? Okay, one of the reasons that I brought this sentence was to challenge you to see how would you want to resolve this dilemma of what do I do with these other frame elements? FrameNet developed a notion called course sets, which says that frame elements actually occur in groups, or they're actually related to each other. And a course set is a group of frame elements that are related. And sometimes it's the case that if you have at least one of those frame elements in the sentence, you have fulfilled the obligation for each and every one in the set. Do you understand the concept? So a very clear example of course sets is, for some frames, a cause of the event might alternate with the agent that causes the event. So in many frames, cause and agent constitute a course set. The wind broke the window. I broke the window. Right? So wind as the cause and I as the agent. They're both core, but you don't need both of them to have a good sentence. You don't need both of them to characterize the participants of that breaking scene. You could have one or the other. Now, you don't have to always choose one or the other. Sometimes you can have both. When you have both, when you have the option of both, fine. When one precludes the other, we say that one frame element in a core set excludes the other. So then those frame elements in a core set have an additional restriction. If I choose one, by virtue of having chosen that one, I cannot choose the other. In other cases, you can have a core set in which choosing one requires that you have another. And then we say those frame elements have the restriction of requires. Excludes, requires. Okay? We haven't yet talked about core sets, but we're going to talk about core sets. And this example was meant to have you start thinking about that concept. In judgment communication, evaluee and topic are in a core set. Okay? Remember, it's the difficult to analyze sentences that give you material to think about. For the next thing, the more complicated concept that we're going to learn about. And that's what core sets provide for you. Okay? So we can say that evaluee and topic are in a core set. But they're not in any other relation. It's neither excludes nor requires. You can have both, but you don't need both. Okay? Ooh, we've gone over. Does someone want to quickly tell me what there is to say about the annotation of the second sentence? Tanya heard the praise attributed to the man in the blue shirt.
The first problem that we had relates to the translation. We didn't know if the praise was given to the man or if it was given by the man.
Because you didn't know the meaning of the word attribute?
Because it could sound structurally ambiguous, okay? Because in Portuguese, when you say attributed to, it means the man praised someone or someone praised the man.
Oh, I see. So in Portuguese, it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
So,
you can attribute a praise to someone in the sense that you are praising someone, or in the sense that you're saying that someone praised somebody else.
Okay, so in English, we don't have that ambiguity. Okay. Yeah, all right. So I understand the problem. In English, it's pretty clear that the communicator, that the man in the blue shirt is the communicator. Okay, so I understand why that was difficult to do. In the PDF, I will, maybe we could change it to a less ambiguous with your help, Thiago. I could change it to something less ambiguous in Portuguese so that, yeah, okay? Okay, thank you.
Do you want to talk about next week's assignment?
Yes.
Let me just get that.
No, I'll do that. Okay, now we're going to talk about the assignment for next week. It's a more challenging assignment than the ones I've given you to annotate. The assignment will get you ready for talking about, for learning more about frame definition and frame membership. So you have read part of the article on hitting and breaking verbs for today, and you can finish it over the weekend. And I want you to consider the question, to which FrameNet frame does each sense of hit and each sense of break belong? Remember, you're going to get this on in the PDF from the course website, so you don't need to write everything down right now, right? I want to know which frame in FrameNet you would use for each of the senses of the verbs hit and break that Fillmore discusses in that article. Think about whether FrameNet already covers every sense of each of the verbs. If not, for which sense or senses would FrameNet have to define new frames? Okay? So I'm really asking you to think about the criteria you use to determine frame membership and frame definition based on the description of hitting and breaking verbs. Okay?